Hurricane Gordon is bearing down on Florida this morning. Hello and welcome to this edition of Storm Watch, brought to you by Michelin. Let's take a look here at the latest coordinates on Hurricane Gordon. Right now, 155 miles to the south-southwest of Cedar Key, Florida. Wind sustained at 75 miles an hour. It's moving rapidly to the northeast at 16. Estimated pressure is 28.97 inches. Here's the latest look at Hurricane Gordon, and we would like to join hurricane expert Dr. Steve Lyons for the latest on Hurricane Gordon and its impact. Steve?
Well, thanks, Melissa. And we continue to monitor. Some heavy rain is going to affect central Florida, and to the north portion of Florida, we're still expecting a significant surge. Let's look at the large-scale image just to show you what's out there in the tropics overall. Florence is moving off to the northeast and no longer a player. This is our Hurricane Gordon. We have some showers over the Windward and Leeward Islands, and we have a low-pressure center coming off of Africa. But let's go straight to the area that's most impactful right now, and that's our Hurricane Gordon. We have hurricane warnings up from Anna Maria Island up to Ocklawacknee River, and then watches up to Indian Pass off to the west. We also have some tropical storm warnings and watches up, and you can see also that they extend on the east coast of Florida and on up into Georgia coast and southern and central South Carolina coastline. So be very careful if you're up in that area doing anything over the next 24 to 36 hours. Strong winds could be coming your way. Now, as we look at the overall circulation center, it's up in this general area right here, moved past Sarasota, heading very close to Tampa. It looks like it's going to miss Tampa to the west, but you're still going to have significant surge about the time of high tide, maybe a little bit before. Some strong winds out of the south and some heavy rain. Naples up on into Sarasota, if you had some heavy rain today, that looks like that's going to be your biggest impact, is the heavy rain. And on up to the north near Cross City, where we think the system is in that general direction going to make landfall over the next 12 to 18 hours, we expect storm surge to be significant, on the order of 6 to 10 feet. And so we want to make sure you know that and stay well away from the coastline where it's very vulnerable. Now, we look at the infrared satellite imagery. We have very good news to show you here. The circulation center shows very little deep thunderstorms near the core, which means it's virtually impossible for the system to develop or strengthen over the next 12 hours. And that's associated with a big surge of dry air and shear in the upper layers that's coming across the circulation center. The low-level visible imagery doesn't show too much relative to the center, but notice all this rain off here to the southeast still going to come up over the peninsula of Florida. So most of the bad weather rain-wise and wind-wise is to the south of the center. So once the center passes you, you can expect the worst weather. And you can see some of the rainfall totals that we've experienced already down here in Fort Myers and heading up towards Sarasota, upwards of 8 inches and going on 10, and out over the water it's been 15 inches. So watch very carefully for the potential for very heavy rain. The projected path you can see heading up toward the northeast over the next day or two. We think it's going to become extratropical and remain over land. But keep your eyes on it if you're up to the north. Let's get back to Melissa in the studio now.
And severe weather is also a problem here across central Florida. We've seen numerous tornado warnings out of Okeechobee and Ocala counties. So with this line here, as it continues to lift its way northward, watch out for the potential for tornadoes within some of these storms. High wind gusts, as Dr. Lyons was mentioning, over by Tampa Bay, we're seeing winds as high, almost near 40 miles an hour.
This program was sponsored by Michelin.
The worst of it, rain-wise, may be on top of you now, but what about the anticipation of that surge later on today?
That really is the big concern right now, Bill, no doubt about it. We are getting the heaviest rain that we have seen for the whole hurricane so far. And it's pelting down, probably raining at a good rate of maybe a ½ inch to an inch an hour. And the wind's gusting. We have a helper here that has an anemometer out on the pier behind me, and he's been telling me the winds have been gusting at times upwards of 35, maybe close to 40 miles an hour at times. That's the most we have seen. So far, surge not a problem, but the wind, as you've been mentioning, hasn't really been onshore, but that will be changing. We're going to go to our storm cam here and show you a little bit of a different perspective. You can see some of the palm trees swaying in some of the strong, gustier winds, and as Jim Cantori's been mentioning, the surf is up, I would say, upwards of 5 to 6 feet right now. And believe it or not, there have been some surfers out there that have been trying to brave that. We do not, I repeat, we do not recommend that you go out in a hurricane surf, even if you're an experienced surfer, because you could really run into some big problems with some rip currents. Let's go down the beach a little bit to Longboat Key. I know Jim's been soaking wet for a few hours. What are the conditions like now, Jim?
Well, Jeff, we continue to get the pounding rain here. That is definitely an issue, but what I want to make more of attention to is just look at the water that's come up on this beach here in the last half hour. I mean, it's amazing how quick the water rises. We're just after low tide right now, and the water continues to come up on the beaches. So big problems in through here as we continue to watch the heavy rain and the surf. And I'm telling you, we're not out of this because we still have to go through the high tide this afternoon. Right now, winds are offshore, so they're like this. But we'll see them shift around to the southwest and come onshore. That's just going to help push all that surf and surge onshore. So a lot of these coastal communities here, a lot of the condominiums, a lot of the hotels and resorts and whatnot will probably see some of this water action come very, very close to even some of their bottom floors. So even as the storm goes by, folks, we are going to deal with surge issues, and I'm very, very concerned about that. If you're going to be out here just checking out the beach, I know this is kind of a thrill. Believe me, it is a kind of a thrill. But you got to be careful because the water rises very rapidly, and it's going to rise real fast, especially as we get toward high tide. We'll keep you posted here from Longboat Key, where, again, I strongly suggest that the worst is yet to come, especially with the surge. Bill, back to you.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Point well taken. Inland areas, the deal will be the possibility of tornadoes, even South Florida. I know a big night tonight down in Pro Player Stadium, retiring Dan Marino's jersey. Hopefully the rain's out of the way by that time, but there will be some severe weather, and it looks like a new tornado watch will be issued within the hour to include much of the Florida Peninsula. The other aspect, obviously, the flooding, a possibility, Tampa, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, all under flash flood watches. How much rain? 6 inches or more of additional rain, already 3.5 inches in Sarasota and counting. You want the good weather, head north. Atlanta, Birmingham, Jackson, a stellar day today. A lot of high pressure, had record lows beneath the high. 34 earlier in Beckley, West Virginia. 59 now in Columbia. You may get rain by tomorrow. And on the way to 77, a great day in Atlanta. Kelly?
We have some pretty windy conditions across portions of the Northeast.
Severe thunderstorms along a frontal boundary stretched from Topeka, Kansas to Hutchinson, Kansas.